Hey biologist, this is Dr. B and we're going to go over 7.5 molecules in biology. So we looked at different molecules in biology. We looked at water, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. So we want to know what they do in your body, and we want to know what they're made of, if applicable. Water we know is just H2O. There aren't really any subunits to water. It's just hydrogen and oxygen. And notice that I put the oxygen in red because that's how it's represented in molecular diagrams. The atom of oxygen is represented by a red ball in ball and stick models. In sugars, which make up carbohydrates, if you think about starch or glycogen, which is how plants or animals store energy, they are made up of sugars. Those sugars become polymers, they latch onto each other, and they become a larger molecule. They are made out of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The word carbohydrate gives us a clue. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbohydrate. The O in the middle reminds you of the oxygen. The amino acids make up proteins. Remember, we had a bead chain of amino acids that make up a protein. Our bead chain necklace here represents different proteins combined together. The amino acids are molecules of their own and they combine together. They have a backbone that connects with the backbone of other amino acids in a dehydration reaction and makes a long, complicated molecule that folds in a very particular way based on the side chains and the charges in those amino acids. And that's what we're doing a lot of lab on. Lipids are made out of fatty acids. Lipids do a lot of things in our body. They insulate us, they're chemical messengers, they provide padding. They're pretty cool, we need them. And nucleic acids are made of nucleotides, and they're things like RNA and DNA in our bodies. You can see that the nucleic acids are a little more complicated in what elements are in the molecule. They include phosphorus, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So they're like carbohydrates with carbon, hydrogen, oxygen with nitrogen and phosphorus added. You'll notice that proteins are like carbohydrates, except they have one extra element. They have nitrogen, which is very important. And that's what makes the amino group, and that helps the amino acids bond to each other. If you would like to figure out what they do in your body, we can go and review the curriculum. So as we can see, assignment 7.5 is a review of about 4 weeks of work. Week 4, we went over some things about carbohydrates and water. So that's a good place to go back and review what's a carbohydrate and what they do in your body and why are they important. And then also review water. Here, week 5, we have proteins. So the information you need to fill out the rest of the chart on proteins is in week 5 on Friday. If you want to review some information on lipids, that's Friday of week 6, and nucleic acids were week 7. So you've got lots of great information here in Schoology to help you fill out the rest of the chart. If we scroll down, you'll notice there are some questions here. Which of the molecules are polar and nonpolar? We went over the polar and nonpolar ideas in the labs where we talked about how oil and water don't mix. And that should give you some clues about which molecules are polar and which ones are nonpolar. This one you might have to do a little research, or you might have to go to the cupboard and grab something that has a nutrition label. I grabbed a box of crackers here, and you can see there's total fat right up here, and total carbohydrates, and total protein. So I know these crackers have at least 3, and of course they have water in them because we need to put water in just about everything we make. That's food. The carbohydrates are going to be coming from the grains. The protein is from some of the, there's some seeds that were added to these crackers. And the fat is, they needed to add some fat to the crackers to make them stick together really well. Let's see, they put dates in here, that provides carbohydrates. There's apricots, there's rice flour, that's a carbohydrate. Honey would be a source of carbohydrates. The flax seeds probably are providing most of the fat. So there are some clues on how to find a food and how to figure out which of those molecules are present and how they got there. Number 3 and number 4, you can look up online. There's 2 different molecules that plants use one and animals use another to store energy as carbohydrates. We also know if you did the proteins assignment, the daily assignment on proteins, which molecules provide a lot of structure for human bodies. Think of hair, eyeballs, nose. And which molecules provide the most structure for plants? Think of the crunchiness of celery and that cell wall that makes make plant cells not so flexible. If you bend a plant too much, it will break. And that has to do with the cell wall. So look up what molecules make up the cell wall in plants. And that's what you need to know to do assignment 7.5. Thanks so much for watching.